Hello. Hell yeah. Yeah, my headphone quality just absolute. Oh, never mind, it didn't. It was bad for a like a very quick second, but then it's back to normal. We are going to be making our sub badges today, by the way. All right, but hi, Aaron. Meow. Let me get into here. Hi, guys. How art thou doing? How art thou doing? Why is my input device not my Hyper Quadcast? Is it because I accidentally did something wrong? Hello? Okay, it's working. It's a working. I'm gonna set this as me is live. Okay, there we go. And I need to make sure that y'all are connected. How is everybody doing, by the way? Are y'all ready for stream? Cause I have a good idea. I have a very good idea. Your rock boy has a very good idea. All right, we're just gonna go. Oh wait, I need to open Krita. That's the only thing I haven't opened yet. I opened everything else, but then Krita is not open. I am quantum physics. My wingless brings me to existence. I wish I could be a girl in that way. You'd wish I could be your girlfriend, boyfriend. Am I pretty enough to love back? No, not yet. How large are... I'm gonna do that. Alright, let's just go straight to here. Alright, there y'all are. I'm gonna do this for y'all. There we go. Alright, so for our sub badges, I thought it would be cool to do, because there's three little types of well, there's three types of sub badges, but then also on top of that there's three different types of rocks. So what I'm thinking is I can do like igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary for the different types of sub badges. How do y'all think about that? Because I think we're able to do it like for three different types. Like, I think we're able to do three different types or something. But I've got a little graph open because we gotta have the graph and gotta have the reference. So what I am thinking is at least have uh I have not thought about this completely. I'm kind of thinking about having like tier 1 subs be igneous rocks because they're like the main rocks that have obsidian in it. But I'm not sure about tier 2 or tier 3 subs. Like, should tier 2 be sedimentary or should tier 2 be metamorphic? So now we're like, hmm, hmm. should it be like igneous, then metamorphic, and then sedimentary? Or should it honest I'm not sure. I'm thinking, I'm thunking. So like let me quickly change to my normal writing color. Oop, that's not the right thing. I was supposed to zoom in, not do that. Also, what kind of rocks would it be? I'm actually gonna look up like what because I know like under weathering and eroding, like they can go back to sedimentary, but then under pressure they can go to metamorphic, I believe. Hmm. We gotta do our research. So we know tier one would be obsidian. The tier two ones, I'm not seeing. So I'm not seeing like what would happen if chat. I have a question. What? Why are you attacking me? Ah! Ah! I cannot believe you. How dare you? I cannot believe you. How could you do that? Do I need to make another jail? Now epic escape. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to figure out what our tier subs would be should be. Because we know the tier one would just be like a regular obsidian, which is a lava glass that you can technically like it kind of looks like that on the inside. Why are you meowing? Why are you meowing? I'm very concerned. You're a cat now? Oh my gosh. They're gonna duel. We're gonna witness a duel, the first duel of the stream. Oh, never mind, we're not. The duel just doesn't it doesn't make you say anything in chat. It doesn't make you say anything in chat. It's just a duel. Your character is a battle to the death for a duel. So the first one would be obsidian, we know, and then the second tier though. What? What? No. Ah, wait, I'm trying to look this up. Fine, I'll duel you. We'll have to see who wins. Oh, hey, I won. I'm looking, I'm looking. Pull I've tried, probably just drink that too. I'm now British. Huh? I'm British now. What on earth? Maybe for tier 2? Maybe they can all be different types of igneous rocks. Because they're formed under, like, they're formed under heat. So, like, tier 2 could be, like, basalt. And then you want to sit with Ko-Fi Bot? Ko-Fi Bot's probably not going to stay sitting, though. Oh my. Oh my. My. Oh, that's not the right thing. Okay, there we go. Then we'll grab you. Then we'll grab Ko-Fi Bot. There y'all go. Everyone's got the Chad mode hat on. First box of the day. Yeah, basically. Okay, why is my thing not wanting to work with me? Guess I have to, like, do that. Make a mercy out of me. No, it's not anything else affecting it. It's not that I know of. So either we can go that way, or wait, why do I hear that sound? Why do I hear the doo doo doo? That's odd. That's very odd. Either we can go the igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary way, or we can also probably go the different types. Wow, that's a very late first. That's a very late first. Dude, everybody's got Chad mode. Almost everybody has Chad mode hat. Ashes, ashes, us to dust. The devil's after both of us. Lay my curses out to rest. Make a mercy out of me. Um, so like the first tier could probably be just regular black obsidian. Hi, Bacon Bit. The second tier could probably be snowflake obsidian. I do like snowflake obsidian. And then maybe the tier 3 could probably, what if it's fire obsidian? That's the rarest type of obsidian, it looks like. It's found in southeast Oregon and is characterized by its vibrant colors and patterns. Ooh, that's pretty. Oh wow. Oh wow. Yeah, we're doing fire obsidian. So those are going to be our three different tiers. So we can just have that at the corner. So this will be like what? We'll just start with tier 1. Thank you for the bits. 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 I just started saying it at this point. It's fun to say though. It's really fun. The bits. The bits. The bits. Oh my gosh. Is this just gonna be how stream's gonna go today? Just just you meowing all stream? So obsidian is typically very it's a very sharp glass whenever it's broken. So we can do like some like meow, yes. So whenever it's like broken, it's very sharp and it's very brittle. But they usually like they sometimes can make it into like little spearheads. I want to like see how my rock's gonna form. I'm looking at a reference right now, yes, just to see how it like for how it'll form. And then we can kind of like try doing like the we'll do like the shading in this color so far. Uh Actually it's just Ko-Fi and Suki. Suki wants to sit and hang out with Ko-Fi because people keep on attacking Ko-Fi. So whenever it's broken, uh, nah, not you like filleting them all the way over there. So when it's broken, it usually has like these lines inside of it. Because I'm pretty sure it's from hi ants. I'm pretty sure it's from when they're forming. They're basically forming very fast and cooling off very fast because they're made from lava. So they usually have like these little lines and indentations just kind of, as a cool little rock. So we might be able to just kind of incorporate it a little bit. And then the blue can probably be the light spots that we'll have. So like of course the little like the darker spots will have some of the lighter areas with it, I guess. Maybe. Though I will have this part start off as that. Yippee, you won! Okay. So this whole entire face. It looks the lighting might be coming from like on the outsides as well. So we can also like do something with that as well. So like maybe instead of this being whoops. We can probably have this face be all like that. And then the shading kind of be what was that sound? Did somebody join me? Hello? Ants?
Yes.
You good?
Yes.
Your mic is very messed up, dude.
A moment.
Bro just called you Robocop.
What?
El
It's too
Macaco just
bad.
called you a Robocop.
No. Am I still RoboCop?
Not too. It's not as bad now.
I think I think my old headphones were a bit more expensive.
Oh no. You just need to get
This will
yourself
have to
like a
suffice.
better quality mic.
This will have to suffice.
I'm making my sub badges.
I saw.
At first I was thinking about doing it like igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic rocks, but then I was like, you know, I could actually just do like go full obsidian and do all of them obsidian.
That would make sense, yes.
Yeah. Bacon Bit says hi.
Hello.
Yo, you have a 7 stream streak, dude.
That is correct.
Let's fucking go. Honestly, I really want to try playing Dispatch. It seems like it's so fun.
I have I would, but I don't have money.
Same. I gotta save up for a PC.
Get it, save it for a PC that you can play Dispatch on.
Yeah. I'm trying to hint to my Jima like that that's what I'm wanting for Christmas. 'Cause uh
Or you could go to like you could say, you know what I'd be really thankful for?
either that or like I'm not sure. But yesterday, so I had my doctor's appointment yesterday and whatnot. Also, doctor, awesome. She's awesome. She's awesome. She's so cool. Um, basically, while we were waiting for my medicine, because I finally got like the medicine that I need, and I got an inhaler, which is something I haven't been able to have since I was living with my dad. But now I have an inhaler, guys. So you guys will see less Wheeze Sidian.
They keep
But
giving
while
me
we were
inhalers and I don't really need them.
I need inhaler. I need an inhaler because like I've got asthma kind of bad. But my dad like never believed it. So now that I have money,
Just listen with research map and wrench just took a bottle of pop.
oh, I got to say bye to Gordy.
Did to say bye to Gordon?
Yeah, Gordy's gone now.
He's fully gone?
Yeah.
Oh, I still have pumpkins.
What?
Did the event fully end?
Yeah, the event ended.
Damn.
Yeah. No more getting pumpkins. No more getting Gordy.
Bad. I heard someone just died. Was it the distractor? Well, I guess I'm never gonna get the double bubble skin, but also I don't really
He'll be back
want
next
it.
year.
Well, I do want it, but I also don't ever want to play Poppy ever again.
Thank you, Cowboy Boy.
Exclamation point. Attack Ko-Fi bot.
No, you can't. Ko-Fi bot is in a box.
At Sugizu, you know what you need to do.
Suki loves Ko-Fi.
They won't do it. They won't do it.
Suki loves Ko-Fi. God forbid I'm seen just as an average human being. I mean, imagine if antagonists lacked any evil scheme. I'm that guy between a tragedy and comedy. Don't come at me, I'm the main character, and you have to like me.
Wait, when you
Oh, they're
diss, are you
hiding
looking
them.
forward or are you looking at the twisteds?
I kind of, whenever I'm distracting, I'm kind of looking to the side. Um, so I typically do both. I kind of look at them from the side so that I can see what's in front of me and what's in like what's behind me. I have almost all of the songs in your playlist. Hell yeah, you got good music taste then.
Because I underestimated Panic.
Ooh. Ouch. Yeah, that's why that's one of the reasons why I like Suppression a lot, because you can actually like stay the same and not have to prepare too much for Panic.
Your distractor was picking Suppression, and you decided to go Avaricious.
They like to do that too.
Not one heart now. And there's a Gigi.
Mmm.
Oh, god damn it, the Shrimpo took her.
Oh.
Why do we have a Shrimpo anyway?
That's also why I don't like distracting when there's a Shrimpo in my round, because they get in the way a lot, because a lot of players don't know how to actually use stealth.
Okay.
OMG, yesterday
Gigi
you were
took
so
my
pissed
candy
off.
and
You
ran.
like it was so horrible. As a joke.
God damn it, the Shrimpo.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my god.
I don't think there's a. Why does everybody have? Oh my gosh, literally everybody in not everybody, but almost everybody in chat has the witch hat.
Not me.
Stream Elements has googly eyes. Ants has the shark. I have the wings. Then Ko-Fi and Suki both have wings as well. Okay. How would that how do you think that looks as a sub badge?
Rock.
Rock.
This the 1 month sub?
Uh wait, are the badges based on tiers or months?
The tiers are based on months, aren't they?
What?
When you sub at tier 3, it means you like sub it like for multiple months.
No. A
Isn't
tier
it?
3 would be giving the streamer more money.
Which is more months. Isn't it?
No. No. Hold up. I think we need to look this up.
This Shrimpo. I
Twitch
swear to god, this Shrimpo is gonna be.
sub badges. Subscriber badge guide. It's money, it's more money and more months.
But like
Oh, the
more
badges are
months equal more
months.
money, right?
The badges are more months.
There's a new Astro Plush, it seems.
I thought it was the tier. I thought it was the tier. Why did nobody say in chat that it was the tier? Nobody in chat said it was the tier. We gotta change this.
Gotta go with it.
Maybe okay, so like the normal one could be for like
Are you gonna make more and more sparkly?
I was gonna have it be like different obsidian types.
Oh.
Um hmm. Because it looks like there's the base one, a 2-month badge, 3-month, 6-month, 9-month, a year and a half, 2 year, 2.5. Hmm.
The Care Bear went with the Halloween too.
Yep. Okay, so that's gonna get erased. I should probably make that larger. Oh. I think this one needs to be nearest neighbors because it's pixels. Okay. So this would then be the base badge. And of course we would have to...
With the 1 year sub ad, which is like the Aztec Macaweedle.
The what?
Macaweedle. The Aztec obsidian sword.
Oh.
I don't know if I'm saying it right.
So we can actually see what this looks like. Okay, that'll be the base sub badge. Should we have like a base, then a um hmm.
I know what a lot of people do is they just do recolors.
Yeah. Did one of the rocks just explode? Did I just watch a rock explode?
That fireball says.
No, I think I just watched a rock explode, like actually explode. Hold up. Let me see if I can scroll back and see what just happened. Okay, no, it wasn't a rock, it was just one of the stars. I literally looked over as soon as it exploded, and I thought it was one of the rocks.
roleplay mode because I wanted to look at the rooms. I see just Twisted Dandy morph into Toodles out of nowhere.
Is the Halloween room still there? Or is it gone too?
Oh, I forgot. The Halloween room is gone. What floor were we missing? Like in the roleplay mode?
Halloween floor?
No, I mean like you said that there were like main floors that were missing, I think.
Oh, there's no
For the
there's
other
not
day.
a pebble floor.
Oh, that's what you meant. Are the people who are upside down here exploiters?
No. The physics engine and like the physics that they use in roleplay mode are different than the actual game. Hydrate. Ooh, I need to grab some hydration. Hold up, guys. Let me grab some hydration. Sticky.
So you're hydrated, right?
Yeah.
Vocal cords lubricated?
Don't do it. Don't do it. No, you motherfucker. No. Hey Siri, set a 1 minute timer. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a room, rubbing with rats, and rats made me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me a room with rats, and rats made me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a rubber room with rats, and rats made me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in rubbing with rats, and rats made me crazy. Crazy once. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a rubber room with rats, and rats made me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a room, a rubber room with rats, and rats made me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a rubber room with rats, and rats made me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a rubber room with rats, and rats made me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a rubber room with rats, and rats made me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a room. Why? Why?
You did it. You know, the stills for Dandy's World are very misleading.
The what?
The stills, like the pictures they have to advertise it, and like
Hmm.
it's one of the sub bags that badges living.
What?
It's one of the sub badges living.
What are the sub badges? What?
Living. Are they living?
Living? Like alive living?
Yes.
We got the rocks on them.
You seem to be drawing a creature.
It's the rocks. It's a rock. Hi, Cosmic.
Oh my god, you're sub to so many people.
What?
And so many people's different subs.
It looks like 2 of them are mod hearts. They're not in jail. Suki just wanted to sit with Ko-Fi Bot. Better find a mop, it's getting sticky in this bitch. Better find a mop, it's getting sticky in this bitch. Better find a mop, it's getting sticky in this bitch. Better find a mop, it's getting sticky in this bitch. Better find a mop, it's getting sticky in this bitch. Oh my gosh. Find a mop, it's getting sticky in this bitch. Sticky, 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 sticky. Sticky. Apparently, they added Tyler the Creator to Fortnite.
They added Juice World to Fortnite posthumously. They'll add anyone.
That's wild.
And they gave Juice World out for free.
Damn.
I think it is like I have Christmas Snoop Dogg as one of my characters in Fortnite, and I never played Fortnite.
Oh my gosh. Whenever I used to play, like on like my dad's
Banned,
old
banned,
PS.
banned.
Oh shit. Fuck you. Fuck them bots. I could have sworn I literally banned the word like best viewers. Oop, wrong there.
I forgot I don't have a Vimo anymore. I took
You
it
don't
off
got
for
no
the
you got
shoes.
no Vmote?
I took it off for the shoes.
Who are you playing as?
Louis.
He can handle not having speedy shoes.
I'm used to speedy shoes.
I literally got to like floor 13 as Louis with the Vmote and magnifying glass solo this morning.
The shoes is what I'm used to.
I don't even use speedy shoes anymore.
Finn is so slow. I have to pause and stop for him. I outrun him with the like just the walk speed.
Hold up. I gotta grab the actual rocks color. Because this is literally gonna be my rock on the sub batch.
Do I still outrun Finn when during panic? First floor panic?
Probably.
With no sprint.
Wait, how do I go how do I do the off-screen colors on Krita?
Are you asking me?
Probably just asking anybody. Or do I have to grab the original file? Anyone up for ads? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
I mean,
Are you
1,500
trying to
points.
Are you trying to spend 1,500 points right now? Oh my gosh. Bro's trying to do ad time. Uh, I don't think I can do 2 at once. I don't think I can do 3 at once. Why are all of y'all wanting to watch like 7 minutes of ads or something? No, not 7 minutes. Like, I think it just does 1
Got
minute
about
ad break.
1.5. Just got about 1.5
They
phases of that.
the ads can't. I have to wait. I have to wait to do that. You recently ran an ad and must wait to run another.
You know, I still have 3,000 points left.
Oh my gosh, what are you trying to do?
Nothing in particular. I'll wait till I have more, just in case there needs to be an emergency hydrate.
Why? Oh, why this town without love? Anything above.
My god, Boston is so fast. I'm panic.
I'm trying to find where Stream Avatars is so I can pull up the file for this.
For a second, I thought you were singing Heartaches.
Stream Avatars, Stream Avatars. Where's Stream Avatars? Where's Stream Avatars? Why? Oh, why this town without love? I see someone new. Someone's orange. I see an orange one. Who's the orange one? Oh. Oh, it's the bot. Ew, get out of here. Get out of here.
You just obliterate them permanently.
Basically. Why, oh, why this town without love? Pin of shame.
Okay, so I was
No.
distracting, and I popped Roger, and that made it so. I lost a heart.
Good job.
I need train whistle.
You just gotta do dials for a whole bunch. Where on earth did
Yeah.
I put these rocks? The bot isn't even worthy enough for a pin of shame. Correct. It's not in my PNG tuber
The bot
file.
needs to be exterminated like a pest because it is.
Basically.
I'm tempted to run through this poppy to scare them.
Gosh. It's not in my Roblox. It's not in my camera roll. There we go. It's on my desktop. I was trying to find this for a while. Get over
What were you
here.
trying to find?
My Rock Boy sprites. Driving with my darling, faster than I should. Driving with my darling, Forever if we could. Driving. Oh. Road again. The danger isn't far. Bang deep green crushing metal. Police just lost a car. But I think I'm a fool. Tried to breathe underwater. Driving with my darling. Faster than I should. Driving with my darling. Forever if we could. Drive. Oh. Driving. Driving.
Shrimpo's annoying
But I
because he's
think
like with other
I'm a
twisteds, and I
fool.
don't know how to jungle distract.
Oh, yeah. Like, are you talking about regular Shrimpo or Twisted Shrimpo?
Twisted Shrimpo and like
Oh.
Finn, the other slow twisteds.
Oh,
Sometimes they like
you're
lag behind.
okay, so with that, you have to do wider loops. So say, let me just grab another layer real quick. And so this is a box right here. Say if you're going like this, and Shrimpo's getting lost right here. I don't know if you're watching my stream right now, so that I can show you.
It's a little bit lag behind, but yeah.
But what you have to do is you'll go around here normally. Let me do this in like a blue. You'll go around here normally at first, and then whenever you're on this side, you'll go in a wider loop so that the regular twisteds take the normal path while the slow twisteds go like where's my red? Take the normal path so that you can keep on having them catch up.
That's interesting to know.
And you can also probably have it to where you have like a larger area as well. So that they can catch up right here and right here.
How do you jungle distract with like Pebble and like a regular twisted?
So as a regular Pebble, it's very hard to do, but as Louie, it's a little bit easier to do. For jungling, you have your normal little box. Oop, that's 3 lines. And what you want to do is basically the same thing as I said earlier, to have all the normal twisteds kind of catch up right here and here, and have Pebble go all the way around. If you're Louie with 1 heart, you can do it that way. But if you're Pebble, you'd have to have like, if you're Pebble or another 5 star tune, you'd most likely, it's a lot harder to do it this way. But you'd have to have Pebble go like hit the boxes, and you'd kind of have to go through around 2. And you'd have to kind of switch up based on where the other yeah. You'd also have to switch up which way. Thank you, Coffeebot. So you can have them connect right here, or you can also like if you're running low on stamina, have Pebble hit both boxes and try to connect them in the middles right here so that you're going like that.
Shouldn't be a problem if I'm 1-star Louie though, right?
1 heart Louie, yeah. I would just say, especially, so say V's room. She has those 2 things on the side where it's like the wall. This goes to the middle area. This goes to another room. And she has these little thingies on the sides. She has it on both sides. My thing is where trying to, because that's the box right there. I'm imagining V's room on like off the top of my head. I'll go like this. And then if I'm losing, I'll sprint here. And I'll sprint here. So that I can gain stamina right here and here. But if I'm running low on stamina and I don't have any box of chocolates, there's another little spot technically that you can go up to. Hold up, let me. On the V map, because you know where that like big island is right here, and it has like the thing that like goes like that. Oop, wrong thing.
I have a Shelly chasing me, so it's kind of hard to look.
Oh.
I see. I just looked behind me and I've lost Tisha a while ago.
Oh gosh.
Yes, there's the sound of one of my teammates getting hit.
Maybe someone else took them, or you turned a corner too fast?
Probably because, you know,
You kind of do the same thing with Shelly as well. But it doesn't have to be like to the extent where if you're being chased by Pebble. What floor are you on right now?
6.
What map?
There's only 2 twisteds. We're on the restaurant. The regular restaurant, not any name. And I got someone killed because I lost Tisha.
Oh no. How the fuck do they die to Tisha of all people?
What do you mean?
How do they die to Tisha of all people?
I don't know.
They should be able to like
Oh my god.
deal with Tisha.
Panic mode.
So if you're on the restaurant map, there's typically the island next to one of the elevators.
Get in the elevator. What are you doing, Poppy?
Just go in. Then
Anyway, I'm really fast Louie, I guess, because I just used my last band. And there's V. I'm dying this floor.
okay, I can teach you like I can teach you after you're dead for that specific map. There's one spot that I really like to distract, but it can be really close to the elevator. But there's not typically a machine by that spot. So let me know whenever you're back on stream.
I am on stream. It's just kind of hard to look over.
Right. Whenever you're distracting V though, when you get the slowness, that's when you use your stamina, and any other time you try to just like conserve your stamina.
I'm really thankful that the other Twisted Louie has the same speed as V right now.
Yeah. With Train Whistle, it's a lot easier.
Poppy, get out of my way. Swear to God, Poppy.
Poppy's got 3-star stealth, so you'll be fine if you're Louie.
Yeah, but if I lose...
Are you trying to turn corners to lose them a little bit?
No, I'm not. Just worried.
Oh. What floor are you guys on? Like what map are
7.
you on?
Oh, we're on... I don't know what this is. It's like the museum, but it's not Shelly's. Like a library?
Greenhouse rooms? They're green.
Green. Green room, yeah.
Is it the one that has like the middle part that has two boxes and then like there's like a center, there's the
Yes.
okay,
And there's
that
an
one
acre split around that.
absolutely sucks to distract in. It's still one of the worst maps to distract in. Is the good elevator the one with the bench by it, or is that bad broken elevator?
Good elevator's the one with the bench by it, I think. Let me check. I can walk on over. I'm just kind of running around the entire map right now. Ah, damn it, I lost them. I turned a corner too fast. They might think I'm griefing because of this. There's only the Sylvester left. This is what happens when you're still learning distract. Seems I didn't spy a bench in either. And I died.
It's like a picnic table. It's like a picnic table. Like the big picnic table in one of the rooms.
Too late now. I'm done.
Right. On that map, you typically want to go at broken. So because they're both good elevator and broken elevator are kind of the same. And so you'll go around the box that's around there.
There was like no box.
Or like the shelves. I just call it a box. It's an island.
I know, like there wasn't really an island. There was just like things jutting out.
You were probably in the wrong side of the room.
Probably.
Was there one that was like that had the bookcase jutting out? Like right here?
I don't remember it now. I'm in the lobby.
Oh. But yeah, you typically want to go to like where the broken elevator is and distract around the island there. Cause usually in those rooms, the machines are kind of tucked away. Like there's one that's like usually right here, one right here, and I think one can spawn kind of next to the door there. But I think those are the normal like places where machines spawn. If a higher stealth toon, kind of like you said Sylvester was with you and Poppy, they can do
Sylvester and
those
Poppy.
machines while you handle like the twisteds around the island.
Yeah. I'm not a very good distractor, you see.
Well, you're learning still.
Yeah. I learned to distract on Eclipse.
Yeah.
Or like when I first was learning. And I managed to get to 20 something.
That's good.
But to be fair, you did not encounter
Hey,
a
it's a
couple
lot
of
better.
adventure
It's a
traps.
lot better than whenever I first saw like whenever you were distracting or trying to distract and you were like it hurt me. Cuz you were
What was
turning
this?
all of the corners. Like there was an island and you were literally like hugging that island. And when you're hugging islands like that, you can lose line of sight with the twisted and the twisted can easily latch onto another player. You only usually want to do that when there's just pebble.
Or coal and blackout.
That too.
And also Gordy, but Gordy's gone.
Gordy's gone.
Alright, hey Rebecca.
Ooh, it was nap time for you. Nice.
20 minutes. Imagine not passing out for a full 2 hours every time you try to take a nap. A short one.
Oh, I literally took a nap earlier today. That shit, like, holy shit.
That shit, holy shit.
Dude, I literally was snuggled up in my bed.
Who was I distracting as when it physically hurt you?
I think you were Eclipse. Cause you
Oh.
were hugging the islands like crazy.
To be fair, you don't know that I was distracting like shit because you didn't see.
Well, I was dead.
No, I'm saying in the run just now.
Right. Dee la da da la da dee la da da la da dee la da da la da dee la da da.
I'm going full extractor on this round.
Who are you playing as?
Rebecca. I still don't have her
Okay.
mastered despite her being my first character.
Okay, because a lot of people, like, especially in public runs, they typically see a Louis, no matter the trinkets, and are like, distractor.
That's fair.
Even though Louis got really good skill check. And Louis the same extraction speed as Shelly. Shelly's only got 3 extraction speed.
4 skill check, 3 extraction.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, it's just you take 1 from stealth and then you put it in extract speed. And then
Basically.
give him the helium heart passive, and that's what makes him good.
What?
The main key to like distracting is mostly movement speed, right?
Yes, and also it also depends on like how, I guess, fast and smart you are. Because while it would be very difficult, like very difficult, you could technically distract as Shrimpo. But you would have to use the
15 blocks
method.
of top root.
You would also have to use the movement like around the, like how you're doing Pebble. Like if you do Pebble, you just have to pretend that every single twisted is Pebble.
And then just distracting Pebble's impossible, or
Basically. Like my way of being like, hey, this is a good way to practice distracting. Go into a round as like a 3-star movement speed toon instead of like a 4-star or whatever. With Speedy Shoes and Dog Plush and try distracting as them. So say go as Shelly, like in a solo, and just distract the commons like on floor 1. Try your best to like distract as much as you can.
would that build up a bad habit of like hugging though?
Not necessarily. You can tappy sprint with them. Like, you know, if you, when panic hits, you'll do like slight taps to keep the distance.
Yeah.
You'd basically do the same.
But the entire time.
Yes. It'll
That's
also
bad for
teach
Sam, isn't
you.
it?
It'll also teach you stamina preservation. So like only doing stamina, like only using your stamina when you need to instead of unnecessarily using it.
Nice.
It'd be kind of funny if I did like one of those animorphs, but like it morphs from like a rock to obsidian.
A rock. From a rock to a
It just morphs from a rock to obsidian. That would be so cursed. as it were, a mirror up to your mirror. It's something people do. A bloody knife. All instead. Oblivion and dialect, so boy, it really is defective. Except it pure distance. For what? For what? For what it's worth. If it was gonna kill you, boy, it would have by now. For what? For what? For what it's worth. There's no more looking up. And when you wouldn't like to look back. So look forward now. Are you unhappy, girl, in this confusing world? If everything you learn is letting left to burn, I want to do another commission.
You know what I really miss after moving?
What?
You know what I really miss after moving?
After Louis?
Authentication after moving.
Oh, moving. What?
Authentication food.
Authentication what?
Asian food. I miss it so bad.
Oh. Oh. I was like, authentication.
Authentic Asian. The poor pronunciation of my words paired with the shitty mic doesn't really help, does it?
I just have trouble processing words in general.
That's also fair. Oh, our sprout died.
Oh.
This Cosmo sprinted to a machine, and you don't even have V-mote.
Cosmo just wants that machine, man.
Well, I wanted more.
Probably trying to get tapes if like to heal people maybe. So that they can buy a like med kit or band-aid.
Damn it! As soon as I get in the machine, my V-mote goes inactive from,
Oh. Oh no.
Where are you hanging around? Get to elevator.
Are you unhappy, girl, in this confusing world where everything you earn is getting left to burn? Where to me and living would be three, and I could give you that, and I could give you that if you just hold my hand. If you open your eyes, if you get in my car, I'll take you for a ride with Reaganomics, baby. With Reaganomics, baby. With Reaganomics, baby. Baby, baby, baby.
My brain forgetting whether this is a Bo Burnham song or a or I forget the name of the artist, even though you had him on yesterday. Lemon Demon.
It's Lemon Demon.
Okay. Because it could either, it seems like something they'd both write, both Bo Burnham and Lemon Demon.
I don't think I really have any. I think I have one. I might have one. Reagan. One Bo Burnham song in my playlist.
CEO entrepreneur, I'm born in 1964.
Jeffrey
Jeffrey
Bezos.
Bezos. I love Welcome to the Internet so much, though.
I think that's the one that I have in my playlist. Do it again, do it again, again and again and again and again. Do it again, do it again, again and again.
You know what my first introduction to Lemon Demon was?
What?
Like in Five Nights at Frunkin. I was getting
Mine,
confused while I was Googling these things and getting something else.
yeah, my first introduction was from one of my old friends, and they introduced me to Spirit Phone, and I was like, I like Lemon Demon now. That and then the Ultimate Showdown.
And then I
This
think I
is
got
the
exposed by
Ultimate
like Aim Kid.
Showdown. Oh, the Modify animator?
Just all the songs in general. But like Aim Kid has done a lot of Lemon Demon.
Yeah.
Soft Fuzzy
You got
Man and
introduced
then
from TikTok and it was Two Trucks. Yeah. Me
oh, I forgot about Two
and
Trucks.
my friend, when we were like, when we used to, well, when they still lived here, we used to drive
Oh,
around a lot, and like we used to go Ubering, so that like Ubering, DoorDashing, one of those two, so that we could get like spending money and whatnot, because it was fun. Uh, that and then also so we could hang out. And one of the times we put on Two Trucks.
were you in a truck?
No.
This I'm realizing this cause is named Shelly.
What?
This Cosmo is named Shelly.
My Gma's wanting to start trying to like work on getting me, not getting me, but like helping me get like like an actual house, so that like I don't have to worry about like having a lease, and I wouldn't have to worry about like pet rent or anything. And
Like
I was
buying
like,
one?
what?
Like buying one with a mortgage?
Yeah, kind of. Because she doesn't want me renting.
Wonder I wonder if you could get like a better job if you went like trade school or something.
I was in trade school. I was there
Oh,
for digital marketing for the 1 year that they had that class at my school. But I haven't found anything with it. I mainly want to just do content creation though, to
that's
be
fair, that's
honest.
fair.
Because that's been a dream of mine since I was like a really little kid, and I guess it's my thing that I like to do.
The moist critical, I'm turning it on as the opposite.
What?
Have you not seen like he had a video that's like I'm not turning it back on, and it was like about how you could donate to him, and then he talked about how much he had made over the years.
Oh, I've not. I actually have not. Honestly, one of the things that I'd like to do, like when if I like do like make it big and whatnot and like am able to do it, I would like to get like not only just a house, but I'd like to like help out other people like as well. And like especially with the especially a lot of kids in like the foster system and whatnot. Cause my Gma, she used to foster and two like my aunts were foster kids as well. Like they ended up getting she ended up adopting them. And
That's nice.
honestly, like while my experience wasn't the best, I do want to like help other people have like good experiences.
Completely fair and valid.
Cuz three of the kids that she had literally were just bullying me the entire time, but I remember when they got like their stuff from like the angel tree, like that was they were so happy. Like especially my aunts when they got stuff from like the angel tree and whatnot. They were literally super happy.
What is the angel tree again?
It's basically like during Christmas time you can buy things like kids put their Christmas lists on the like at the angel tree and you basically buy it for them.
Hmm,
Uh
that's not a tradition
and
I ever had.
typically it's been going around on TikTok a lot because this one lady's like well people some people are just being like, "Oh, I'll only spend like $30 per kid," when no, you're not supposed to spend only $30. You're supposed to get their entire list so that they like reasonably,
Feel
give
special.
yeah. Cuz a lot of the kids on the angel tree are from lower income families.
Oh no. I have to put bandage in first slot, which means if there's a GG.
Oh. Looks like this is not enough. This is not enough to prove it yet. No, I need to hit the bottom.
Every time someone says Twisted Roger, I never end up looking and end up falling for it anyway.
Every time I spot Roger, since I have train whistle, I purposefully pop him.
Well, we can't always play Louis, can we?
Well, even if I'm like if I got the train whistle, like either way,
Which why would you have a train whistle on an extractor?
Pebble.
You play extractor Pebble.
Distractor, Pebble, yeah. Pebble is a distractor.
Extractor.
Well, sometimes you can be Shelly with train whistle and you can, you know,
Why?
not deal with Finn's slowness.
That hyper specific.
Or if you got spotted by V on a solo. It's usually whenever I'm distracting, though, I'll pop Roger. Thank you, Cowboy
Exclamation point attack.
Bot! They're still in the box with Suki.
Let me at him. Put me in there.
No. This
I
is
have a feeling.
not. Oh. Ko-Fi bot is very happy about that.
Forgot we have the Corgi here. That wolf has like little clouds next on its cheeks, right?
It depends on the skin.
Because in this burger one, he's got sesame seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I forget I'm free. I'm debuff free. The spin doesn't matter to me.
Oh. Wonder what these little guys look like when you do the mesh perspective.
Huh?
This is so cursed, but it's so
Opening screen.
funny.
I'm reminded of the goddamn fleas.
The what?
The fleas.
Oh my gosh. I need to do my own little version of this, like have them dance like
What if you made that into an animated emote?
I mean, technically I would be able to.
I don't think anyone is going to be able to read 1 month, but it's so tiny.
Okay, I don't know who else to do it.
Have the banners be different colors, and then when you go in, you can see how long each sub batch means.
Or I could do that. Have it be like an overlay, clipping layer.
What if you just have Obsidian on fire for one of the patches?
Oh gosh. Just
You'd
have
have
like, or like the rock being on fire.
wait, rock on fire, wet rock, dusty rock, rock. Earth would be just be rock, yeah.
You know what? I'm saving that asset for a little emote. I'm saving that for a little emote. Or I can. I think that's a little bit. I'll have to do it like in the actual style of these. I forgot how to animate these little guys. Stop my tears, I was delivered. Holding scissors, I live deliberately. I'm a quitter. Anyway, but I never agree to participate in these games. Won't follow my dreams. No, they've all got me waking up screaming. After all, I'm lying team, and I'd rather be normal. Yes, so normal. I suggest that we keep this informal, 'cause a normal human being wouldn't mean. I can't do a fucking circle. Let me do a circle. Let me do a circle, please. Please.
Maybe you'd like
That's close
Pokemon
enough.
Rescue Ranger.
What?
Pokemon Rescue Ranger. The main gimmick is you draw circles around Pokemon to befriend them.
Huh.
It's a DS game.
Huh. I think the only Pokemon only Pokemon
Blame.
game I've actually played was Pokemon Ruby on my DS Lite.
And then they came up with ORAS. Do people actually say the thing? I've only seen it typed. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Wait, what?
They'd say ORAS. Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. The remakes.
What about them?
Do people actually say like ORAS?
I don't know. But I tried whenever I was a kid, I tried not kid. Uh I did try to play like not a kid. I was literally this was like 2 years, no, not 2 years. Maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. I
That's
did
good.
I was trying to
Legally a minor.
play. Well, yeah, I was. I was trying to play. I think I was trying to play like Pokemon Emerald, and then I didn't like the layout of the first town because it was different than Ruby. Because I grew up playing Ruby the entire the entirety of my childhood, and then I tried Sapphire. Didn't like it either. Only one I like is Ruby. That's what I found out.
Oh yeah, I can walk through Icar and just be fine. Gotta love Rebecca. You know what? Technically, very technically, my first Pokemon game was
Which one?
Pokemon Brick Bronze on Roblox.
Didn't that one get taken down because it was like a literal copy of
Yes.
one of? Yeah.
They use the actual sprites. Like, The only reason I stopped playing was because it was no longer available. Um, my my first officially licensed Pokemon game, however, was Pokemon Let's Go Eevee.
Oh, I wanted that so badly as a kid. I loved Eevee.
As a kid, came out in like 2017, did it?
Yeah, I was a kid then.
Ah, I know you're older than me, but that just makes me feel old.
Yeah, I was literally a kid then. There was
We
Let's
were both.
Go Eevee and
That
Let's
was
Go
8 years ago.
Pikachu.
8 years ago.
Yeah, I was like
Oh
11.
no.
I consider 11-year-old me to be a kid.
I was a kid back then too. Yes, but
I was a girl in the
it
village doing
hurts.
alright.
It
Then I became a
hurts to know.
princess overnight.
Oh, it was 2018. Like, because like all the Pokemon
2018 would
games
have
up until that
been.
point had been with like the handheld consoles. Like I had a DS, but I lost it in Hawaii, and the only thing on there was like Zelda.
Oh. I was
Pretty sure I
12 whenever
abandoned
that
that
came
DS.
out. I was a kid then. I was literally a kid.
Yes, that's true, but it hurts to know because it still feels like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it's brand new, despite it being like so long ago.
Human heart gently beeping. Wow, 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 wow. You can't win me. I can't be beat. Hurt you unless you
It's
cheat.
gonna hurt me when 2026 happens because then I'll know 2016 was over a decade ago.
Oh gosh. I was born then. No. I was born. Wait, I was 10 years old then. I thought you said 2006. I was like, wait,
2016.
2016. No, I'm not 10 years old. I'm not 9 years old. I'm 19. I have a driver's license.
I have a driver's license too, except I can
Gasp.
use mine because I have a car.
I can't use mine. I don't have a car.
Exactly.
You can win me. I can't be beat. I won't hurt you unless you cheat.
Oh my God.
What?
Gravity Falls ended February 15th, 2016.
What did?
Gravity Falls.
Oh my
It
god.
ended in 2016.
Oh my god. Wait, when did Steven Universe, like, the actual show end?
Like the original?
Yeah, the original show. Because I was obsessed with Steven Universe.
The original Steven Universe ended on 2019.
God damn.
Change your mind. Apparently 2019 was the best year.
Uh, then 2020 happened. I remember late 2019, my classmates were starting to talk about, they were like, oh yeah, there's apparently a new like virus going around, and
I didn't
whatnot.
really hear about it in the weeks before until the weeks before lockdown.
Yeah, they were kind of like talking about it, but like they were like, oh haha, yeah, there's like a virus, like their parents were talking about it as well and whatnot.
Everyone
Um,
talking about how it came from eating like bat.
yeah. And then whenever COVID first happened, basically uh the they told us, "Oh yeah, you guys are going to have an extra week or not an extra week, an extra day before spring break." And then school just shut down.
I remember quarantine happened a week before my birthday.
Oof. I remember as well, like all of my friends at that time, like they went to our other friend's birthday on July 21st. But then for my birthday party on the 24th, only one person showed up.
You remember the dates of the party?
Yeah, because it was literally because their birthday is July 21st and mine's July 24th, so like 3 day difference.
You're gonna get your identity stolen.
My birthday is public.
It is? Why?
Yes. Because.
Why would you do that?
What do you mean? Why would you do that? I don't know. Because July 24th. One day off from being cancer.
Like you've seen how much I've tried to hide how old I am even.
I'm 19 years old. I was born in 2006.
My name is Walter Hartwell White.
I was specifically born July 24th, 2006. I think I was born at like 1 p.m. I remember one of my birthdays, my Jima had I was like drew my character all the time and whatnot. But my Jima had literally put one of my drawings on the cake. And when she showed it to me, I literally like froze because I was like, how did you get that? How did you get that drawing?
Was it made of like the edible printer paper thing? The sugar
Yeah,
paper?
yeah.
I mean, at least your character isn't a furry, right?
She was a cat girl.
Oh.
Yeah, that was
Actually,
Sunset.
wait, your character's a dragon.
Well,
Like the main one you
my
use.
old main character. It was Sunset. She was a cat girl.
Just lambasted in front of everyone.
I think it might have been like one of her older forms as well, because she also used to be like half skeleton. Because I was so obsessed with Undertale.
Oh.
Yeah, Sunset started out as a Sans.
I had such an incredibly long and embarrassing Undertale phase.
Oh, I had a massive. I was obsessed with the AUs.
Ew.
Ants, you've
And
been challenged to a duel.
I have been?
Yeah, you've been challenged to a duel. Oh, you got it.
Oh,
You.
too
Oh,
late.
yeah, a little too late. What's the matter? What's the matter, Martha? Since we've seen that smile on your face, could it be? 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 Could it be?
I have finished
Give
Rebecca
us a
Mastery.
clue. Hell yeah. Do, What's the matter? What's the
And I'll never
matter,
use the skin because I
Martha?
like the cat one.
Could it be? Could it be? Could it be? Could it be? Give us a clue. What's wrong with you? What's the matter? What's the matter, Martha?
You know what I should get for my next birthday?
What?
Tiramisu cake.
Oh, that sounds so good. Foxlight said rude. In Ance's defense, they didn't realize that you had challenged them to a duel until I said so. Oh, wait, that makes me realize that you don't know what you want for your birthday. Oh, no.
Huh?
They don't,
Oh,
Suki doesn't know what they want for their birthday.
a good night's rest.
Good luck with that. I'm just such a nickel, babe. Come my mind. I didn't lose it, babe. There wasn't much to find. I'm only passing through. Yeah, yeah. Why is it so hard to clip?
Is a red square showing up on the floor of the elevator a bad sign?
No, it's basically just what the thing uses to
The thing?
you know whenever you're doing the elevator thingy.
What? You keep using very vague words.
Uh elevator, panic mode, arrow.
Yes, that.
That's what it points
Mhm.
to.
Okay.
I can't fucking think. I'm like, my brain's like dead. I'm just a
Fair
psycho,
enough.
babe. Come and go out in my mind. I'm only passing through.
I'm gonna leave in 20 minutes for dinner.
Ah.
Hopefully I can get to 420 by then. I don't really know what I want for my birthday either. I just want that tiramisu cake.
Money. Yo, 3 stream streak. Let's go.
Heck yeah.
I like that a lot of my chatters are finally starting to get their like their stream streaks. I
I got a 7 stream streak. Wait, was it 7 or was it 5?
think it was 7. How do you like the other one?
So I may have panicked and I hit the do machine button.
Oh no. Did
So
it
I
kill
got
you?
hit twice by Sprout.
Oh no.
Thankfully, I had 2 band-aids, but now I have no more healing items.
I like
This
this.
stream
I like this badge. I like it a lot.
It's good. It's really
It
good.
should be it should be the mod one. So that mods like
They'll end up they'll just they're on fire. So is the snowflake one gonna be a frozen rock? Yeah.
Snowflake.
Yeah.
I tell I, I tell everybody about this, like as many people as I can. But have you heard about Snowflame, the cocaine-powered supervillain?
No? I have not.
Would you like to hear about him?
Sure.
So he is from a spin-off of the Marvel and DC crossover. And the spin-off was called The New Guardians. It was very culturally insensitive because it had a very diverse cast made of stereotypes.
Oh.
And their villains of the week were the problems in the 80s. Like the first villain was a villain called the Emo Goblin, which is the vampire with AIDS.
Oh.
Because, Reagan. And in the second issue, their villain was named Snowflame, the cocaine-powered supervillain, who is also a drug lord, of course. But
Damn.
he gets his power from cocaine, in which he has pyrokinesis, and is impervious to pain. And he's always high, of course.
Ah.
So I wasn't paying attention, and Glisten shattered in front of me.
Oh no. Oh gosh.
I did not get hit.
That's good at least. That's good.
Snowflame, the cocaine-powered supervillain. He has made a run in 3 official comics, and has died in every single one of them.
Damn,
In
bro's only
his first
existence is
appearance,
just to die.
in his first appearance of the New Guardians, he dies in a chemical shed explosion. And in the Catwoman series, which he was in, he is a drug lord, of course, and he is at first friends with Selena Kyle, who is Catwoman, and gets taken down by her because he is a drug lord and she wants to help the people he is oppressing.
Ah.
And then he gets mauled to death by a spirit panther. Fun fact: panthers are not their own species. They are just really melanated, either jaguars or leopards.
Nice.
Anyway, in his third run, which was Peacemaker Tries Hard, Peacemaker kills him by putting a bunch of poison dart frogs in his stash of cocaine, to which he inhales a poison dart frog. One gets stuck in his nose and he dies.
Oh my gosh.
The frog escapes unscathed!
Thank you, Ko-Fi Bot!
Exclamation point, attack Ko-Fi Bot.
No.
But that's Snowflame. He is a DC character now, though, of course. We're pretty good extractors because when it's not a blackout, we get everything done pretty fast.
That's good.
This Pebble's a good distractor as well.
Nice. It's always good when you find good good distractors.
Because like the pebble sequesters themselves in an isolated area, and the Gordy is able to just extract no problem.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah, whenever I play Gordy, I typically do Distractor Gordy.
Because you don't like playing extractor.
Nope. The solo run I did earlier today was boring the fuck out of me, and I got Dial's Floor, and so I just died. But hey, I timed my machines perfectly because I got 69 machines.
Nice. This cause is on mobile because I said, guys, I'm brushing my teeth.
Chat, I am brushing my teeth.
I wonder what rendition of Clear Their Loon the game uses.
Do 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 do
The
do
first
do
note, and I
do
immediately
do.
thought you were going to do Bluebird of Sadness from Deltarune Chapter 2.
I have not played Deltarune Chapter 2 yet. I'm waiting until all like the
Been
entire
out for
game. I'm
years.
waiting for the entire game to be out.
Years on end.
I'm waiting for the entire game to be out. This one's just cozy. This one's a cozy rock. The frozen rock is a cozy rock.
The sooner you play the game, the less likely you are to be exposed to spoilers because you've been exposed to so many.
Surprisingly not. I have
Did
no
you
clue
not
what
see
the
the?
plot is.
Okay, I guess that's fair because there was an extreme spoiler posted by Aaron.
I know there's a game show in either chapter 3 or 4, but I don't know which chapter it is. So like, there's a game show, Tenna exists. There's the knight. Driving in my car right
Well, the
after
thing
a
about that
beer.
is, you shouldn't know about the night. You shouldn't know about the night if you haven't been spoiled.
I'm just sitting here and I'm like, a knight. Imagine just the rock just absolutely like freezing, but also burning.
Freezing, burning, exploding.
Basically. I forget that, like, because I have a little entertainment center, and I can close it whenever I want to as well. It's strange.
Twisted Sprout so slow.
Honestly, I have no clue. Hold up. I realize I have not advertised at all.
Hey, lurkers, post an emote in chat.
Oh yeah, lurkers, post the emote. Post your emotes.
Including me.
Post your
I'm a
favorite
lurker.
emote.
My favorite emote?
Yeah, post your favorite emote.
I no longer have access to my favorite emote anymore.
Oh. If you are subscribed, post your favorite emote. If you are not subscribed to me, post your favorite emote from anybody's chat then. Soup. Or is that mac and cheese?
I don't know. I've never the thing about it is I was given this sub without ever having visited the channel once and not being followed. But the tag says soup.
Soup.
And there's a Brightney.
Is she gonna do the blackout?
She did the blackout.
She did the blackout.
There's also a Pebble. There's a blackout with Pebble.
Ooh, oh gosh. Oh no.
And Sprout.
Oh
Sprout.
no. Oh no. Oh yes, a blackout, Brightney, Pebble. It's kind of funny because like every time I do like every time see Pebble usually, I'm just like Pebble, Pebble, Pebble,
Oh,
Pebble, 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 like that. Surrender your mind. Right now you're mine. All mine. I see a cowboy. Who is a cowboy? Boxlord's a cowboy. I want to be a cowboy, baby.
I want to be a cowboy, man.
Are you streaming your Roblox?
I am not.
Oh. Do you wanna be a dandy? Do you wanna play Dandy's World on the corner of my screen?
I gotta go in like 5 minutes
Oh.
after when I come back. Because
Oh.
we'll know you'll be streaming then.
Hey, it depends. It depends.
I
It
know you'll be.
depends. It mainly depends.
You streamed for 10 hours the other day.
Listen, I have work
10.
tomorrow.
You work on a Saturday?
My off days are Tuesdays and Fridays.
Strange.
I work at a retail store. Of course, I'm gonna work on a Saturday.
I can't believe you work on the Lord's Day as well.
I'm not even Christian.
Travesty. Well, like, doesn't you could be a Seventh-day Adventist or something.
What?
Those are people that go to church on Saturday.
Oh, that's what my great grandpa does. No raise hell for you. So if anybody needs me, I'll be in my coffin. How the fuck does yellow make this shit red?
Color theory. It's bullshit.
It's overlay. It's an overlay. Let's see. Whoa! Piss rock! Piss rock! Piss rock! Oh my gosh, it's a piss rock. Piss rock.
Why is this Poppy such an antagonist? Like, she just always appears.
If you need me, I'll be in my coffin. Oh, you could come in. Ooh, that's cool. That's a cool looking rock. That's a cool
It's
looking
like
rock.
glass.
Glass. Well, obsidian is glass. It's just
Well, like,
it's just lava
it looks like
glass.
glass made of quartz. Dyed red.
Yeah.
Now, what will floor 20 be without Gordy here? Nothing. It's Harley would.
I'm in love again. If you still want me, come find me in my coffin. Hold my hands, we'll dance the 12-step on my brain. I'd kill the man I am for one more chance to be yours, baby. No, I ain't begging, just saying it's an option. Let me this be your last name on the coffin if you need. What should this one be named? Or like, what should it be like the 3-month badge?
Pebble saved me even though I'm trying to die.
Oh. Yeah, that'll be 3-month. And then I need to get the
I want you to
code.
guess who I died to.
Shrimpo.
No.
Ah.
you guess once and then you stop. There is a shrimp on this floor though. There is a shrimp. You guess
The
once and then
villain?
you stop.
Poppy?
The villain?
You said Poppy was like being like a villain.
Oh
Uh,
no. We get into the
Hyrule?
next floor. I died. To Blot.
Oh.
That's a pretty good name. Damn it! I have 4,186 acre. I am literally 100 acre away from Shelly.
You have more than I do.
Well, yeah, because you have all the mains. You even have Blot.
Blot was the last tune I got.
Exactly. Well, that's surprising considering how much you played Louis. It's expensive
Well,
though.
You do have to have Yada's mastery as well.
Well, yeah, but you played Louis so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta be back in an hour probably.
Ah, okay.
You are back to aloneness.
Yep, I'm back to the abyss, guys. I'm back to the abyss. Ugh, I can't believe it. Burbia, we're not alone. The lights are on. One's home show. Myers-Briggs. Okay, Ultra takes a village to fake a hope of culture. You're you to the playground, your eye on the ball, your head in the gutter, your brains on the wall. Oh, well, home is where the heart is. You ain't homeless, but you're heartless. It's the safest on the market. Still gotta watch where you park it. So give me your half a life crisis. I can tell that you don't hunt the prices. Well, parasites, but don't fear what your bug type is. That has snowflake and matters in my blessing. Holy shit, that is not the right thing. Oh my gosh, no, my gosh, no! What did I do? Ah! 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 What have I done? Oh no. Um, am I able to do this as like I don't think there's a way to do this. Huh. That's odd. I'd like to make a whatchamacallit? Like a little dancing animation. But easier. Because on this you can do this mesh, then you can have it like that. That's whoopsies. Not perspective, it's mesh. Wait, how do I make a... Do I make the... How do I make the frame? Hey, the fuck? Why did it just... Hello? Why did it just... Okay, that was weird. Anyways. Chat, are y'all still here? Y'all wanna do a boss fight? I'm gonna go to the restroom. You're the only one? Oh gosh. Chat, get ready to do a boss fight. I'm gonna be right back. Guys, I found out something. Apparently Vine's coming back. Oh wait, shit, it's my turn. Oh, it's too late. No. Apparently Vine's coming back. I found that out.
Like, that's wild.
Rejuvenation. Yeah, apparently Vine is coming back though. Yeah. I think I did size 1 so that I could have just done this for these little guys. So I think maybe I can start by like, yippee, the boss has been defeated. Now to put Suki and Ko-Fi back. That's me. There's Suki. There's Ko-Fi. You can go on top. You can go right there. Oh, there's ants. There goes ants. I think I'm just gonna do the little animation for the dance animation, maybe. I feel like that would be pretty cool. But I just gotta get the little circle. Because the circle's always the same in all of the rocks. I'll see you on the moon, where we're throwing a party. And as you're gasping for the last of breath, you'll tra-la-la-la-la, twirling. Migration. Just gotta remake the face real quick. Meow. Hello. You missed the boss battle. You missed the dandies. Listen, I'm in an art mood right now. I'm in an art mood. Let me do my art. I'm as alive as Earth is long. I'll see you on the moon, where we're throwing a party. And as you're gasping for the last of air, you'll tra-la-la-la-la, twirling moon dust around. I'm just gonna fill it like this. Oh, wait. Just gonna fill it like this. And this is the one that needs to be filled in still. I wonder how I should do like this dance animation though. You're broke? What do you mean you're broke? Little rocks below 100? Huh? I'm confused. What? Are you broke on channel points? Now let's put our thinking caps on. Pebble's got his thinking cap. Thank you, Cuff, I bought. What? Don't diss on Ko-Fi. Shake my head. Did I do this 80 by 80? Oh, it's 64 by 64. Oh, okay, okay. Compared to that. This is like massive compared to that. So this is 64 by 64. How many frames of animation do we want? Someone died on floor 1? What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, that's so strange. It was a shrimpo. Oh. Oh. Oof. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, filling up my coffee cup. One way to shake me up. I never wanted to sleep. Oh, I can't pretend. I'm gonna start this with probably how many frames of animation should this be? Floor 1 and 4 people are left. Longest run ever, man. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna start this out with 5, so I'll do. Oh, come on. Hello? Is it not wanting to let me? What on earth is going on with my keyboard and my everything? There we go. Hi, Bagel! My thing's not wanting to work out for some reason. It's like my computer's not wanting to say that I'm pressing things. It's odd. Hi, hi. How are you doing today? Why on earth did it do that? Why did it do that? That was not the thing that I pasted or copied. Copy, paste. There we go. We got a little rock guy. I think this is the second. This should be the second frame. That's good. I need a mark where it has the foot on every frame. Like the start of the feet. So like I can actually, that was not the right thing. So like this can be like that. And then I can just copy that. That's not the right thing. East is north, south is south. Get out. I'm trapped. See how they circle. That's not the right thing. Please, can I please do this correctly? Why do the things... If I just snap this to this grid... Okay, I actually got that perfectly. This is so that I can line up the foot with the, whatchamacallits. Where's my rotation thing? Where is my, it should be back there. It should be down here. But it's not. It's not down there anymore. Because I don't want to do that. I want to move it correctly so that I can actually get it moved correctly. And it's not wanting to move correctly. Rotation, rotation. I don't know where it is. That's odd. Yo, 7 stream streak. Let's go. Let's go. Nope, that's not the right thing. Huh. I don't know what happened to it. Where? What? What the fuck? Okay. I was like, what on earth? Okay, that was odd. Okay, and then I gotta do this again. My gosh. At this point, we're just gonna do a dot right there so that we can actually grab this thing. There we go. That makes that a lot easier. Because we just need to have one that has the foot lined up. Then it supports the truth. Is 80 enough proof for you? Here's to my lady, and I'm coming inside. Drink to me, baby, oh, what's left, oh, what's right. It's easier to use and lose than never to have used you on a fucked up Saturday night. Because I think this one would be the second frame, while this one... No, that's the first frame. Second frame's right here. So I'll have to move that again. So this is the second frame. This kind of looks like it's gonna be like the walk animation. So I kind of want to like make them... I don't know how to explain it. I want to make them like do something else. I'm trying to think though. What dance should the little rocks do? What dance should the rocks do? Hmm. I also think that these need to... The head needs to go down a little bit as well. Just like that. Yeah. Hmm. Ow. My hand. Ooh, actually, I should have it to where the head lines up. Or like the end of the eye. That way we can have it to where we know like where they are. Because all the head's gonna do is move up and down. That way we can have them centered. And of course, this one can be flipped. So these ones are like that, and then we can just mirror that. So they're like that. Ooh, nope, 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 not that, not that. So maybe like that. Actually, I need to make sure that they're still FM blazing colors and me. Then this one like that. Then we just gotta kind of line it up. We'll have to also see, oh, whoops. We'll also have to see like how this looks as well. Where is the other one? Okay. Blue and green and yellow and red, the radio always plays in black and white and black and white and black and white and black and white. Where is the second one? Oh, that's the second one. Okay. Then we're gonna hide this real quick. File. We're gonna export you to see how like they look. Because I'll probably have to add a little bit, like a couple more at least. I've lost myself for a reason. I think I've got this on my desktop in, yeah. Okay, I am gonna quickly, why is it not saying that I am doing this? Oh my gosh. Something's going on with my computer. It's being weird. Like, it's not registering that I've clicked on to a certain thing. So, like, if I try to click on Obsidian right here, it's not working. It is not working at all. It's been doing that all day for some reason. Come on. Hell, come on. Okay. I think how I did this. Import? No. Avatars? Aha. I'm gonna also... I think I need to add it onto the thingy. Okay, so that means... Hold up, y'all's rocks are getting taken away for a second. Songs like this that everyone's wrong. Still sing along. Come on, computer! Holy cow, it's not even registering that I'm like... There we go. Okay, open... We're gonna go ahead and open up the regular Rock Boy sprite sheet. Okay. That's their jump. And we're going to... Hi! Hello, thank you for the follow. We were working on our little subscriber badges. We were just, you know, goofing off, having fun. I colored the obsidian blue, but basically we've got like some of these little guys, and right now we're working on the little rocks, and I don't have them up right now because they are currently being worked on. And I need to... think I need to do that. Hopefully this is a good dance animation. Probably not. I'll probably have to like fix it because it looks super similar to my rock one. I'll save that for now and then... Oh, wait, there was a screen, there was a screen. There was a screen I saw. Come on. Come on. My computer's been acting up recently. It's being really weird. Oh, you're working on a ref sheet. Oh, that's awesome. Come on. There we go. Okay, then we can open up stream avatars and hope we don't break this entire thing. Oh yeah, we do have a collision box. I forgot about that. Whoa, whoa, whoopsies. I don't know. It just started doing this today. Like, quite literally just now today. Uh, I'm chasing a ghost. Do I need to, like, actually open the file? I think I do. I think I need to actually... Yeah, I'm not sure, because I have a I stream on a laptop. I mean, I am saving up for, like, an actual PC. Come on, open up. Open up the folder, please. Please and thank you. It's just being weird today. Whew. Come on. Oh my gosh, why did that take forever? You'd recommend checking the drivers. It can make stuff go all kinds of haywire. Yeah. I think this is what I do. Yes, yes, that's what I do. Okay, so I think what I gotta do is go back to here and resave it, or like re-export it. Or just open up the file preview, actually, and then replace. Hopefully this works. Okay. We're gonna see if this works. Okay, it's not even registering that I've clicked on another tab. Is it something going on with my mouse? Oh, my mouse isn't working in general right now. Oh no. Oh no, oh no. Oh no. That's okay. That's weird. Computer. It's not the mouse. Okay, there we go. You might go. It's quite getting late and your sleep schedule is a bit messed up again. Aw. Alright. Well, have a nice night. Okay, aha! Bye, Suki! I think I gotta go to advanced or preview. Okay, surprisingly, that works out a lot better. That worked first try. Bro, just a little dance. Hold up, I gotta... Let me quickly... Well, it's not gonna work that way. But... I wonder if it's actually... I wonder if the dance is actually gonna work, though. Let's try this, let's try this. So we're gonna connect. It's actually gonna click on it. Come on. I know. I gotta connect it. I was just quickly putting this in so that it did the right thing. But it seems to be taking forever to load now. Oh. Okay. Okay. Okay, we're gonna put me in here. Wait for me to stand up. Yes, it works! It worked! It worked! Oh my gosh, it worked! It worked! Oh my gosh, it worked! That means that I can go and maybe. Oh, it's waiting. Okay, that's at least it danced though. It did dance. I think what I gotta do though is like I think I have to have it be on loop or something. Kind of like how the idol is. I don't know. I don't either that or I just need to do the thing because it just does it one time. I need to do it like I need to have it to where it's multiple times. Avatars and gears. How do you have dance on loop? I think it's bot commands. Actions. Dance, 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 dance. Aha. No. Doesn't do the thing. It doesn't do the thing that it's supposed to do. I'm wanting it to have like huh. Is there a way on here that I can actually do the thing that I want it to do? Because I'm wanting it to do it like a couple times, but it doesn't want to do the thing that like I'm trying to have it to do. Hold up, let me quickly make this a game capture so that y'all can probably see. Singing oh, it doesn't take a killer to murder. Okay, I think it's not a game cap application, but I think it's gonna be a window capture. There we go. There we go. We can actually get this to be over here for temporarily. And then we just gotta move it down. Thank you, CoffeeBot! So what I'm trying to do is basically have the move or like the regular commands like dance and actions so that it actually does the dance because it's got a groove. It's got to do the little groove. Where'd my music go? Where? Oh. I was like, oh, I think I accidentally did the thing. But on here, you'd expect this to be settings. But no, it's not the settings. Surprisingly, it's not the settings. Why did my Fujitech break? Where's my Fujitech? Hello? Oh my gosh, it's just being odd. I woke up in the name that I wore last night. I'm wondering. In my head, where do you get off being so goddamn beautiful? Oh Lord, hello, oh Fujitech. Fujitech is not wanting to work. We gotta. Oh wait. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that was weird. Hello? It started working. I'm gonna box now. But yeah, that's what I was trying to do, and it's not wanting, it didn't let me do that. So it only lets you dance like one time. That's odd. But yeah, I think that is honestly, I think that's good. I think we're good for that. Cause like we can just do the little small dance. I just need to figure out how to make it big dance. Cause I can add like two more layers, like two more rows. At the same time, I'm like, do I wanna? I forgot that this is like the original, this is literally the original sprite sheet, or like one of them. But yeah, I wonder what it does for the ones that are different colors. Hopefully it doesn't absolutely break it again. So let's be purple and see what happens. Actions, dance. Okay, it doesn't break it. It doesn't break it. Okay. All right. Um Hmm. Trying to figure out what else should we do? What should we do? What else should we do? I'm not sure. I think I might go to bed. Just have like an early night. Cause I have done a lot. I have done a lot like yesterday and today. Like yesterday I was at the doctor, then today it's like, I was doing a lot of stuff. Your boy is eepy. Your rock boy is eepy. I also need to like actually do all of my dishes and like run a load of dishes. Let's go ahead and find someone to raid real quick. Cause your boy is tired. I know this isn't as long of a stream as usual, but your streamer's kind of tired right now. I've gone through a lot of different things this week, and it's just been weird. Bad Boy Halo's live. Is Bad Boy Halo a VTuber now? Holy cow, they are. I'll raid Chuck Chan. Alright. I hope y'all have a nice day, night, whatever time it is for you. Be cool, be safe, be nice to the raidie. whenever you guys are in the raid, you guys gotta go rock raid, because you guys are rocks. I am throwing you guys at the raidee. Looks like they are making check-in cards and stickers. That is adorable. Oh my gosh. I love their little, like, I love their entire, like, stream vibe. It's so cute. It's adorable. It is adorable. Anyways, I'm gonna go to bed and get some sleep. Finally not going to sleep at like 2 in the morning. So yippee! Anyways, bye!